Hey party people. About 12 years ago, I was almost 400 pounds. I was supremely overweight, I was miserable, my blood sugar was pushing diabetic levels, and it was time to make a serious change in my life. So I decided to totally redefine my relationship with food and exercise. And the initial way that I started to do exercise to change my life and make sure that I could get on a path to weight loss, and since then I've lost 160 pounds, was to focus on day hiking. I love being outside, it brings me a sense of peace, and day hiking was a great way for me to start getting active and losing weight. So I would spend a few hours each day, sometimes a full day if it was on a weekend, hiking around a local park or a campground or somewhere nearby that I could be outdoors and be active, and it was a great way for me to start losing weight. Because day hiking is so important to me, I wanted to focus this video on building out a kit so that you can bring this on all your day hikes and you know that you have a base level kit in case you run into any kind of emergency, and you would be able to potentially get rescue or save yourself or at least stay alive long enough to be rescued if you got lost or got injured when you were out day hiking. So you can see the main gear that I chose for this video. I have a hat. That's something that I'm not going to separately mention from the kit because I always wear a hat. I'm a bald guy and I need sun protection and a little bit of warmth. So a hat always comes with me, whether it's a baseball cap, a knitted cap, a sun hat, anything that I need for the day, I always have a hat. I have a nice pair of hiking boots. We'll go over that in greater detail. And then I have the backpack itself loaded out with all of my gear. Let's switch to a close-up view and we can go over all the items I packed out as well as all of these additional items that I brought with me, and we can go over their features and let you know why I chose them. So let's get started. First up, I have the Lems Boulder Summit boots. These are really excellent, really stylish, really comfortable boots. They're fully waterproof, and they kind of combine the minimalist features of the Lems Boulder boot, which is another one of their popular boots, with a more rugged and grippy outsole like in their Outlander boots. What I really appreciate in more barefoot style shoes, especially barefoot style hiking boots, is that they always have this wide toe box that's more naturally shaped to your foot. Ever since I switched to those type of shoes, that's the kind of shoes I wear every day, whether it's boots or everyday shoes or athletic shoes. I've switched to a wider toe box and zero drop because I have flatter feet and it feels really nice and helps with my spine alignment to wear this kind of wide toe box zero drop shoe. So I think that's a great design for a hiking boot as well. They're super grippy, but also super lightweight. So I really appreciate the design of these boots because if you're in a serious hiking situation, you're going up mountainsides, it may be a little wet out, muddy, you know that you have enough grip to get around safely. Because they're fully waterproof, you know you can wear these in environments that may get a little bit boggy, or you're going through the snow or something, or you're in a rainstorm. You have that extra protection so that your socks don't get wet and you don't get that awful wet foot feeling or anything like that. The outsoles themselves have 4mm deep lugs and grooves in a zigzag pattern that give you this amazing level of traction. So you have these nice deep lugs on the bottom, and that zigzag pattern allows a lot of extra traction as opposed to just having it horizontally across. And then I love that the tongue itself is gusseted, which is another great feature for waterproofing, so you don't have to worry about water splashing up into this groove here and getting onto your socks. It is gusseted pretty far up, almost to the ankle, so that it's super comfortable and it's super wearable, and you can take these on and off easily, but it's also super waterproof. The materials are great, and because it's a full grain leather, it patinas over time and it looks really good. I actually wore these to a concert last night after going hiking with them earlier this week. So I wore these to a concert in Philly last night and they still look great. I didn't even have to wipe them down. I think they look really stylish and the leather is of a great quality. And then the interior of it is a polyester with a waterproof membrane that gives it some additional waterproofing. And then you have this really nice insole as well that's kind of squishy and comfortable. So overall, these are super comfortable, super stylish, super wearable, amazing hiking boots. So as part of any day hiking kit, you want to make sure that your footwear is comfortable and ideally stylish if you want to flex on fools, but comfortable, wearable, high level of traction, and waterproof is what I really look for in my hiking boots. And these Lems Boulder Summit boots absolutely passed the test, worth every dollar, and I would purchase these again and twice on Sunday. Now we can get to the backpack itself and everything I've loaded it out with. So this is the Alpaka Elements Travel Backpack. I have a full review on this backpack on my channel, so I'm not going to do another full review here, but if you want to check that out, then definitely do so. But this is a really great travel backpack and also just an awesome backpack all around. There's several reasons why I chose this bag in particular. I love that it has the option to add a hip belt on the back. It actually comes with one, but I have it detached. I don't often use a hip belt. But it gives you that option if you're gonna have this fully loaded out or you're doing like a really long day hike with a ton of gear. You also have the option to add these bottom lash points down here, and they also come with the bag. And that allows you to attach things like a sleeping bag or an extra hoodie or a yoga mat or something to the bottom of this backpack. So that's a great little bit of flexibility there. It's made from X-Pack VX42 material, so it makes it extremely rugged, lightweight, and waterproof. In addition to the material, you also have PU coated zippers throughout, giving you another layer of waterproofing, which is really useful in outdoor gear. There are tons of pockets all over this thing, externally and internally, as well as a ton of MOLLE webbing on the inside. So there's tons of organization for all types of gear that you might need if you're going out hiking or camping. It's got a full 35 liters of capacity, so it can either fit a ton of gear or you can load it out more minimally and still use it as kind of like an EDC day hiking bag, and it's still fairly lightweight and it weighs 3.5 pounds empty. It also looks really good, so if you want to flex on fools on the trail, you have a really nice looking backpack to show off with. And most of all, it's comfortable. So if you're going to be hiking for a long time, you need a comfortable backpack. The Alpaka Elements Travel Backpack is extremely comfortable. So now let's take a look at all of the day hiking essentials that I loaded this out with. So in the little water bottle pocket on the side here, I have a Membrane Solutions water bottle. It's kind of that plastic Nalgene material. It has a nice little screw top cover where it has a straw, but you can also kind of like squirt it in your mouth. You have a little grab handle carabiner handle on the side here. It's nice because it's plenty of water on its own, but then it also has this amazing filter on the inside. So if you needed to drink like pond water or from a creek, you could safely dunk this in some water and filter it out and make it drinkable. So if you were in an emergency situation, it's great to have a filtered water bottle to make sure that you can get drinkable water. Then if you flip over to this admin pocket here, I can peel that back and show you everything that's inside. So this is not necessarily an essential, but for me it is. It's a little camera tripod or gimbal, and you can use this to get some nice shots of nature. That's what I used on my hike today. It's great to have a little extra tripod in case you're doing any kind of shooting, whether it's video or photography. Then in this top zipper pocket, I have a Bic lighter that's wrapped with some duct tape. So you have it as a fire extender. If you need to kind of like get a flame to last a little bit longer till you get more tinder, you could use the duct tape for that. You could also use it in all the other ways you would use duct tape. And Bic lighters are just a really convenient, lightweight way to start fires, so I always like to carry one with me. And then I always need a cutting tool no matter where I'm going. I always have one in either my pocket or my bag, as long as I'm not like going on an airplane and I wouldn't be able to bring one. So this is the Farmer X from Victorinox. Has these really nice metal scales on it, has a little keychain attachment point. You have your normal little pocket knife blade here. You have a can opener and small flathead screwdriver combo. And then you also have a bottle opener with a larger flathead screwdriver. Have a little saw in case you needed to cut some tinder or some small branches or brush. You have a little saw on hand. You have a nice little reamer in case you need to make holes in something like materials or wood. You have that ability here, and I like the way it's hooked, so it makes it really easy to make like a symmetrical hole in something. And then lastly, you just have a decent pair of scissors. If you need to cut something, cut cordage, whatever, it's always nice to have a decent pair of scissors on you. So this covers a lot of different use cases in a very small package. Love this knife. Then as a backup method of fire starting, I have this really nice ferro rod that has a handmade wooden handle. It has a little striker with another little bottle opener. The striker also has a little hex driver, and it's got a ruler in both metric as well as imperial. You have a nice length of paracord that's attached to this. So you could use that in all different ways that you would use paracord: to hang something over a fire, to hang up your food in a tree from bears, to tie up some temporary shelter, anything like that. You have a bunch of paracord here to use for whatever you need. And then you also have an emergency whistle, because if you were worn out and you didn't want to keep yelling for help, blowing into a whistle is much easier and you can get attention much easier. And then if you need to start a fire, you could easily just strike this, throw some sparks, and get a fire going. Then in this other zipper pocket, I have a headlamp. It's always important to have illumination, and a headlamp can be really useful if you get caught in the dark in a day hike and it goes on too long, the sun goes down, and you need to see your way out of the woods or mountains. You have a headlamp on hand that gives you hands-free illumination. And then I also have my little packable tote. That's a 19-liter packable tote bag from Nano Bag. And this is great if you need to gather fire-making materials or food or anything like that. Anything you need to gather when you're out hiking, you can do so in a little separate bag. Important to have that as well. Then I just have a Write in the Rain notebook for a little waterproof notebook to write things down. If you needed to write how many paces away something was, write down directions, emergency contacts, or medical information if you're going to go unconscious or anything. And then I just have a CountyCom pop-out pen to use to write on it. So those two things are a given. Then the last thing I have in this front admin pocket is just my Matador mesh organizer. That's my little medical kit. So I have some dude wipes. I have some wet ones to wash my hands. I have these little human gear go tubs in the small size full of different medications, NSAIDs, stomach meds, allergy, stuff like that. Chapstick, Band-Aids and antibiotic ointment, cough drops, tweezers, nail clippers, and anything you would need for a little personal boo-boo medical kit, as well as nitrile gloves. So always have this with me, whether I'm traveling, going out for the day, anywhere I'm going, I have this little personal medical kit. It's come in handy dozens and dozens of times. And then we can open the main compartment here. And I like that it opens fully clamshell on this bag. And in the top flap of the little beaver tail here, in this zipper pocket, I just have some trail snacks. So it's really important to have trail snacks in case your blood sugar gets low, you run out of energy. I just have some granola here. I have some dried cranberries, and I have some shelled pistachios. So if you need protein, carbs, or anything like that, I have the ability to eat that. Or if unfortunately I was stuck overnight or something, I have a little bit of food to get me through the night. So it's important to have trail snacks. Always bring something with you to eat just in case. Then I just have a hoodie in case I get cold and I need an outer layer for a little bit of warmth, or I need to roll this up into a pillow, or for any reason that you would need warmth or a hoodie. I have that on hand. Then I have my Matador packable beach towel. And this is if you want to have a picnic or sit by the waterside or sit out in the grass and it may be a little wet, or you just want to snuggle with your partner. You can sit on this. It could comfortably fit 2 people. And it's really nice to have as kind of like a little makeshift picnic blanket or an extra blanket if you get cold or something like that. Or if you get wet, you have a way to dry yourself. So lots of uses for this compact little package. Then I like to have a backup power source just in case, because your phone is kind of your lifeline when it comes to navigation, especially in this day and age. As long as you have service, it's your way to get in contact with people and navigate. So I always like to have a way to charge my phone. This is the Good A power bank. It's 45,800 milliamp hours, so it can charge your phone many times and charge multiple devices at the same time. It has a lot of power to go around. I really like my other Good A power bank, and that one's just solar. And this one has one added benefit on top of the solar alone, is that it also has a hand crank. So with this hand crank, it allows you to get a little bit of extra power in here. I don't use it to charge the battery. I'm sure you could, but it would probably take a lot of cranking. What I would typically use this for is because it has a flashlight mode as well. If you were in an emergency situation and you ran out of batteries in your other flashlights, you have an extra flashlight here that you can just hand crank and get it to work on the fly. And you have plenty of options to recharge this thing. So you have the hand crank, you have this little built-in USB-A cable that can charge it. You have some inputs on the end. So in this little spot here, you have 2 USB-A inputs, a USB-C input, and a lightning input. So the lightning and the USB-C can be used to charge it. The hand crank can be used to charge it. This USB-A included cable can be used to charge it. And then you also have the solar panel to be able to charge it. And then you have all these different built-in methods to charge things. So you have a lightning cable, a USB-C, a mini USB, and a USB-A can charge all these different devices. You have a wireless pad to wirelessly charge your phone. And then, like I said, you have this flashlight on the top, and it has SOS modes. It's got a strobe mode. And then you also just have a regular LED flashlight. So it could come in handy in an emergency. And then you can just hand crank if you run out of battery and you need a spare battery. You have that option. Or if you want to wait for the solar, you could do that. Also like that it has a cheap little built-in compass. So if you're desperate for a compass, you at least have a cheap one to see where magnetic north is, and that's always useful to see. It's shockproof, dustproof, and waterproof. So it's just a great little rugged, multiple use case power bank that you can recharge in a number of different ways in an emergency, and it has flashlights too. So really useful little power bank to bring with you when you're hiking. And then if we go over to the included laptop pocket in this bag, you can see the last thing I've loaded this bag out with is my Core Surf packable rain jacket. So in combination with that hoodie, I have an outer layer with the hoodie to keep me warm. And then I have another layer that's waterproof and sun protection and a little bit of extra warmth on top of that with this nice packable Core Surf rain jacket. I always like to have rain protection, and this is big enough where I could probably fit it over top of the backpack too. It might be a little tight, but in an emergency, you could use this in a number of different ways. You could even use this as a makeshift shelter if you found a picnic bench or something that you could use as a frame, and you just have a little spot where you could hang this up with the paracord included with the ferro rod, and then you could give yourself a little bit of shelter from the rain or just wear it. I would typically just wear it, but you have some options with this. Lightweight, packable, great thing to include in a hiking kit. So that's what I bring when I go day hiking for the day. If you have any other suggestions of things I should add to this kit or subtract from this kit, please leave a comment below because I love those kind of discussions. And you guys have given me tons of great ideas when it comes to EDC and other ways of packing, and also given me product suggestions. So I really appreciate that. If you want to pick up any of my merch like this shirt, or this mug, or I've also released a knit cap, another kind of cap, and a bunch of other t-shirts, a sling bag, different cups and mugs. Please check out the merch linked in my description below. It helps the channel out a lot, and I've made it as low cost as I possibly can so that I barely make anything off any of these products, but I just want everyone to get their hands on them. So if you want to support my channel in some small way, please check it out. I would really appreciate it. If you like kit loadout videos like this, backpack reviews, things like that, please like, comment, and subscribe because it also helps the channel out a lot. Thank you as always for watching. And with all that being said, I will definitely see you in the next video. Take care.